gentlemen, wrestling fans, welcome to the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. Here on Mega Powers Radio, you will hear hosts from all different types of shows combine to give you a super-powered post-show for you Monday Night Raw watchers. With us this evening, I will be your lead host, Mike Paden, lead host of Keeping Kayfabe, member of many projects. Also with me, we have Anthony Mango, lead host of Smark Out Moment, and also many other projects. How you doing tonight, Mr. Tony?
Very tired, but excited to start talking about the show.
Also with us from across the pond, leader of Nerd Genius, Mr. Michael Burhan. What's shaking, dude?
Awesome. I'm extremely knackered from doing tons of shows last week, including the new show debut of Otaku Nation.
Woo! Yeah, available now on the Mega Powers Radio YouTube channel. We'll probably have it on the fanboysanonymous.com website soon as well. I listened in with that. I had no idea what you guys were saying half the time, but hey, if you're an anime fan, certainly check it out because it went very, very smoothly. The guys had a lot of conversation to run down. Also with us, the other person who was on that show, a newcomer here to Mega Powers Radio, joining us for the first time here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post show, Stephen Wadlin. Wadlin. I know Brian had a hard time with your last name last night too, so that might be a little thing here. But welcome to the show and welcome to the crew, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it.
Also with us here, leader of Sports of Sportaholics Anonymous and also host of Geek Speak here on Mega Powers Radio, Mr. Brandon Liggan. What's shaking, Brandon?
Not much. This really is the A-team of the Mega Powers Radio right now. We got the Brain Trust in me, you, Burhan, and Tony, and our newest member. So we're like, the A-team. That's what I'm sticking with.
Well, I don't mean
I want to be Mr. T.
I don't mean to pull a Mick Foley here, but we can't forget about Mr. Paul Hibbard joining us here as well. What's shaking, Paul?
Oh, fuck Paul.
See, yeah, that's what the half-black guy gets. Thanks for having me on, Mike, and if you want to make it awkward, it's only rape unless you yell surprise.
Whoa. We've already had enough complaints about rape talk on
Yeah, this isn't I Got Gameplay, Paul, okay?
So, I don't know, you guys, but I thought we had a really good Raw tonight. The crowd was pretty into it in Phoenix, Arizona this evening. We had some really cool development between all of our main storylines at CM Punk and Daniel Bryan. The last segment left the show with a lot of intrigue going into the future weeks.
Yeah, they're definitely setting for Night of Champions, that's for sure. Night of Champions is certainly looking a little bit more intriguing than it was as a pay-per-view last week. I mean, if you've watched wrestling for long enough, you obviously know what this. It's not. Can you really call it a rehash at this point? Is anything in professional wrestling really a rehash? It's retelling, different people playing different roles. I agree. I like it. I'm on board though. I was on board from day one. As soon as Triple H turned heel, I was all for it, man. And I keep loving it now. I love how he parted. The last thing you saw him was him parting the locker room as he leaves. Such a sick, villainous move. I'm calling him Mr. Levesque from now on. He's no longer Triple H to me. He's Mr. Levesque.
All right, guys. Before we start running down into our thoughts, just want to let everyone know that you can call in and join us in the conversation anytime by dialing area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. Matter of fact, we have a caller, and I believe this is our usual caller we have here at the beginning of the show. Our biggest fan, JD from Pittsburgh. What's shaking, JD?
Hey, guys, back from the Outer Banks, and it's good to be back on with you guys this week. How's it going?
Absolutely tremendous, man. I think we had a really good show tonight, don't you?
I think it wasn't a bad show in Phoenix. I mean, they had a good time. I mean, it was a good crowd. Obviously, they were really hot, however, and there were some points of the show that were hot, and there's some points that needed a little bit more question. And, of course, we're definitely going to go on mute, so I'll tell you why if we're going to go unmuted. I mean, first off, however, it just goes to show you, obviously, the Shield and Orton are just loving to kiss the McMahon's ass this week in more ways than one. I mean, you could just tell Big Show was ready to come down and help out Daniel Bryan, but of course they couldn't do it because apparently they were afraid of their job security and safety, mind you. Well, apparently that wasn't the case for the Shield and Randy Orton because obviously they were kissing the McMahon's ass because they could do whatever they want, being the big bullies that they are, and they don't have to they don't have to have carte blanche in the locker room. They figure they're the ones they're the best ones in the locker room. So once again, it just goes to show you, after Daniel Bryan had a pretty good match with Seth Rollins, he gets effed over again by McMahon's little goons, if you will, the Shield, and of course his biggest goon of them all, Mr. Two Strike Limit himself, Randy. I want to be a kiss-ass Orton, needless to say. Another thing about tonight's show, as I've said many times in the weeks, please please, 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 shut the hell up, Zeb Coulter, and the Real Americans with your We the People shit. I am tired of hearing it week in and week out. No one gives a shit about you people. You guys are jokes. So here's an idea. Cry somewhere else, okay? You're not a great tag team. I'm sorry. You're not. And then the whole AJ thing, I mean, come on. Really? Attacking the Bella's father like that? Here's an idea, AJ. Why don't you quit kissing Layla's backside while you're at and defend your little Divas title once in a while, huh? Why don't you do that? Give me a break. As far as the highlights of the show tonight, I liked, the whole Heyman Punk thing continues to be really tremendous. I'm really enjoying this whole story. I hope eventually you're going to see Paul Heyman get his neck run. And once again, it looked like it was going to happen tonight. But once again, Curtis Axel, Heyman's little bodyguard boy toy, had to save his little walrus backside from getting beat up. So I think you're going to see it happen in Detroit eventually. But just overall, however, it was a fairly decent middle-of-the-road show. I was a little surprised with some of the things that they did put on. They did talk, obviously, about the Cena thing, which I think was really interesting to see, and that was good they aired that. But the thing that kind of was really goofy to me, the whole Wyatt sister Abigail thing, that was kind of a little bizarre, if you ask me. And then this whole Ryback bullying thing, they say every week, basically, we're trying to stand up for bullies, however, and everything like that. Here's an idea, Ryback. Why don't you quit being a Goldberg wannabe and bullying everyone in your path, whether it be an announcer, a chef, a wrestler in the back, like I said, an indie guy by throwing his clothes on. What are you trying to prove? That you're the tough guy? Basically, you haven't been anything in the last few months. Just get out of the WWE, just like the Real Americans, and go to another federation, whether it's TNA or ROH, and see what you're doing there. Because I'll tell you what, you're both a joke. A freaking joke.
Hey, JD, that brings me to a point, speaking of people from switching over companies. The big rumor going around right now is that AJ Styles' contract with TNA is not going to be renewed. Are you excited to hear about a potential crossover for someone like AJ Styles?
AJ's been one of my favorites, and at one time AJ was in WWE, if you remember, and he was on back in the late 90s, early 2000s on like Sunday Night Heat and Metal and Jacked. I don't know if AJ, that's the big thing. The thing with AJ is, where do you put him in, and who do you feud him with right away? I could see him maybe being, say, a tag partner maybe with Punk or maybe Van Dam, or if not, I can see him maybe going up against a big name like a Dean Ambrose, possibly. But like I said, I would like to see AJ really get some exposure. I hope they don't drop the ball on him, because you think about it. Earlier today we heard about Ted DiBiase Jr. basically putting his notice in, or not putting his notice in, saying he's going to take some time off, and right now he doesn't feel like this is the right time to come back or stay in the company. But I'll tell you one more thing that really just infuriates me. Well, I won't say infuriates me, just totally is stupidity beyond belief. This whole Mexican bullfighting game with Primo and Epico coming back. Come on. Really? Really? This is in 1990. Yeah, whatever they're calling them, the Conquistadors or whatever them. It's just, I'm sorry. It's bad. But no, I think the big question is, if you bring AJ in, where do you put him? Who do you feud him with? And will the fans warm up to him? I'm hoping on all three, yes. But at the same time, it remains to be seen,
No, that's what you Paden. That's where he said yes to all his questions. Yes, they will embrace him. Yes, he will perform well. Yes, he can do well as long as they put somebody else on the microphone in front of him. Give him a mouthpiece. Have him be the next piece of the... What were we calling? What did you call it last week? The establishment.
Yeah, the establishment is great.
Mr. Levesque's new toy. This new guy from a new company. Bringing back. He's channeling his father-in-law. Signing all the top talent from the top. He's got to come out and do the grapefruit walk. I'm telling you, he's got to do it.
It could be a good idea, actually, having AJ Styles basically come in as a heel.
Motorhead has to do a cover of No Chance.
Yes.
Hashtag the trend on Twitter right now.
No, Motorhead has to do a cover of Get Ready to Fly.
Oh.
It would be a good
flying,
idea.
well, let me ask you this, though, guys. Talking about flying, however, two guys who we have not seen forever in a day in WWE, Evan Bourne and Rey Mysterio. When are they coming back, and who do they feud with right away? I mean, for a while there was some talk Evan Bourne was going to come back earlier this summer. Rey was supposed to come back right around or shortly after SummerSlam. We haven't seen these guys in less than a year. What's the hold-up with these guys?
Ray came back in Fresno this weekend.
Yeah, but as far as TV goes, what do they do with them?
Well, it's one step. He worked a house show. That's progress.
Oh, I had no idea Ray was back.
Yeah, he worked a house show in Fresno this weekend, apparently.
We don't know that.
I read it on the internet.
because Wikipedia is so trusting. And
totally.
The
I
internet.
totally believe it. I think it was even actually in WWE's Instagram account. Had a picture of him in Fresno.
Oh, he'll get injured in a week.
Well, he's not going to be wrestling Sin Cara at least, so he might be okay.
I mean, maybe he's going to be the next guy sacrificed to the Wyatt family. Maybe. I think that could be a really good match. You know, a guy that small against a guy that huge. And hopefully, Ray still has some of that pop, that athletic ability that he had in his younger. That's the thing with Rey Mysterio. I'm remembering every time he comes back. I remember 1999 Rey Mysterio or 1998 Rey Mysterio.
Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis in ECW.
Yes. Or I like WCW stuff a lot more. I think that's what really made me a fan of him and why I can never really slag him off, so to speak.
All right. So, anything else on your mind from tonight's Raw, JD?
Well, you talked about Ray real quick. I was just going to make you talk about Ray, though. I'll tell you, the first time I watched Ray, and I'll never forget it, was the match that he made his debut against Dean Malenko at the Bastion I-6. And then eventually, the funny thing is, after I got a couple of his DVDs, I started watching the ECW stuff, and I just appreciated him more. But that was my first great moment of Ray. But I still think my all-time favorite Ray match has to be, and I think we're all going to agree, is him and Eddie at Halloween Havoc 97 at the MGM. One of the greatest opening matches you'll ever see. I mean, it's just incredible.
I'll co-sign to that.
I will co-sign to that as well. But him winning that World Heavyweight Championship was awesome. Did he win it against JB? Did he win it against JBL? I can't.
No, he won it against Kurt Angle and Randy
It was
Orton.
Kurt Angle, yes.
Yeah, the triple threat match.
Yeah, his
and of course
time
you
as
remember
champion
him.
was
And if you remember him and Kurt also had that great match in Japan on SmackDown that one year. That was incredible.
Yes, I remember that
they were in Japan. So I remember that one in Japan very, very well, and the Japanese public ate it up big time.
Mm-hmm.
Rey Mysterio is good.
Yes. Well, like I said, all in all, I mean, it was a thumbs in the middle somewhat one of the thumbs in the middle. But like I said, the next 2 weeks, it's going to be interesting to see what the reigns are, because you think about next week, you got college football starting off. Of course, my hometown team playing Florida State in the ACC opener. Then, of course, Monday Night Football in 2 weeks. They're going to be in Toronto. And, of course, that night, you got Monday Night Football debuting with the Eagles and the Redskins, 7 o'clock. And a lot of people are going to be interested in watching that, I'm sure. And, of course, that's going to be the go-home show for Night of the Champions. And they're in Toronto that night. So you're going to have to really push the next 2 weeks to big ratings, if you ask me.
Well, I think the crowd will be hot in Toronto no matter what, because
they'll definitely be hot in T-Town. They're going to be hot in October, I know, in Pittsburgh, obviously, too. So
I love you, dude. I love you. I just want to say you called it T-Town. I love you.
Yes, I always call Toronto T-Town. Believe me.
T-Town.
That's funny.
I know. That's what real Canadians call it. That's why I smile.
Exactly.
And Triple H brought up a really good point tonight, even though he was shooting. I mean, the ratings for last week's Raw were off the charts.
This is a good angle. People want to tune in.
Yeah, everybody wants to see the anti-establishment guy like Daniel Bryan, and they want to see the corporation get taken down again. 2.0.
Well, I have to say, it does look like they're putting a big stable that's encompassing the entire company, which is what they need, because it allows them to get some decent storylines going on with everyone. You know, the Shield, the tag titles, the United States title, maybe if Heyman decides to join this group as well, the Intercontinental Championship, and giving.
You can see that happening. You can see that totally happening.
Yeah, it's giving like a plethora of angles.
They could kind of do it like a tenuous relationship where, like, Triple H and Heyman don't get along, so they can do it as like, all right, I'm joining with you for mutual stability, mutually assured destruction. We don't attack each other.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. JD, anything else on your mind about tonight?
Well, real quick, I was going to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the new DVDs that are coming out, like the Mid-South Wrestling and the Madison Square Garden one coming out tomorrow? I mean, those ones I think will be big sellers.
I can tell you personally, as a New Yorker, I am stoked about the Madison Square Garden DVD. My very first wrestling show I ever went to.
I think it's going to be great. Yep.
My very first show I ever went to was at MSG, and it was actually the night of the curtain call incident where the entire clique hugged in the ring. I mean, I was a little kid. I had no idea the significance of what went on, and I have vague memories of it. But yeah, it was such a special night to be there for your first show. Have you caught it on YouTube and seen what happened that night, though, to this day? Yes. You know, the funny thing is, the most significant thing that I thought happened that night was the fact that the Godwins won the tag titles from the Body Donnas. I was like, oh my gosh, I saw a title change. That was awesome. And of course, later on, I would find out something much more significant happened that night.
Well, speaking of Scott Hall, what about that him and DDP, though, on Real Sports on about this last week, though? I heard it was a pretty interesting piece, though, that aired recently.
I did not see it. Did you?
My friend saw it. He said it was a pretty good piece, so if you guys get a chance to check it out. I think my first memory of MSG as a young kid watching on TV was Hulk Hogan, honestly, but I still think probably one of my favorite moments of MSG will go down, even as a fan, has to be the memorable ladder match between Shawn and Scott at WrestleMania 10. Without question.
My godfather took me to Survivor Series when Rocky debuted, and that was, oh my God, I can't even describe how awesome it was to see The Rock in his very first match.
I was there when he returned.
All right, guys. We'll do a roundtable discussion about the DVDs, but before I let you go, JD, your high point and your low point of tonight's Monday Night Raw.
Low point, I would have to say, like I said, was the ending, obviously, and, of course, the beginning of Raw. The high point, it was not Heyman and Punk tonight as much as I would say it was good. I would definitely say the Christian Orton match was the high point of the night, maybe. I mean, that match was pretty darn good tonight, and they kept us going. It was a 15-minute-plus match, and they kept the crowd entertained tonight.
Well, fantastic. All right, JD, thanks for calling in, man. We always like hearing your opinions about Raw. You always got a lot of cool things to say.
No problem, guys. Talk to you guys next Monday.
See you, JD.
Definitely, man. Have a good night. All right, guys. So let's follow up with JD's question here. What are our thoughts of the new DVDs that are coming out? I believe Paul, you were the one who had the next opinion to say about something there.
Oh, I think the MSG DVD is going to sell like gangbusters because everybody, whenever you think of important wrestling moments, one of your first thoughts has to go back to Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's where all the big events happen. I mean, besides wrestling, but especially in wrestling, that's where all the big events happen. And the new, what was the other DVD he talked about?
I believe it was Mid-South.
Yeah, Mid-South Wrestling that was started by, his name escapes me now. I can't remember. But
wasn't it that Jerry Jarrett's?
Yes, that was, Jeff Jarrett's father, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Jarrett's father, yeah. I mean, that started the whole thing. I mean, without Mid-South Wrestling, you don't get a lot of the big talents that went to WCW and WWF and WWE. I mean, these are big DVDs that are coming out that are exposing a lot of the backstory of wrestling that, people who don't follow wrestling like we do, will definitely tune in to see that kind of stuff.
I got to say, it's definitely been a landmark year for WWE DVDs. The Mankind DVD that was released this year, absolutely fantastic. So let me transfer it over to Burhan. What are your thoughts about these upcoming DVDs?
I'm literally, WWE are on the whole sort of top 10 on the charts anyway, so anything they actually puts out kind of sells. I'm looking forward to, I would have to say the Madison Square Garden as well, because it's had a lot of good moments. There's some amazing matches, some great talent that have been put on in those DVDs. And I think most of my fondest memories in terms of wrestling comes from MSG.
Brandon, I know you're a hometown boy here in New York, too. So what are your thoughts about the upcoming MSG DVD?
Yeah, buying the MSG DVD just because I'm a New Yorker and, diehard homer. Netflixing the Mid-South DVD. Because the Mid-South DVD is probably like a documentary about the company.
I'm assuming that's so. It probably might even just be like a match compilation, maybe with a short documentary. I'm not sure exactly.
Like I said, as long as one disc has like a short feature about it, I'll watch that. But I probably really won't get into unless there's like I don't know what match could really stick out that would actually I have to sit down and watch this. Maybe like a Dusty Rhodes match or something like that, or Terry Funk, baby. I don't know.
Tony, I never hear you talk much about wrestling DVDs. Is that something you're ever into? Are you excited about either of these upcoming releases?
Nope, not at all. Literally not at all. I couldn't care less. I don't care about Mid-South at all, and I have no connection to Madison Square Garden.
You're not that far from MSG. Have you never been to MSG in your life?
Nope, just outside of it.
Oh, I don't think that. Maybe that's why you can't understand it, man. It's a really unique feeling inside that building. You could just feel the history reverberating through the halls in there.
Yeah.
It's like how it's from South Jersey. That's a totally different part of.
It's like how Islams feel when they go to Mecca. No, honestly.
Islams. I love how he calls them Islams.
Whatever. Burhan can get offended because he made a black joke earlier tonight.
Religious sensitivity.
It was all the people in their burqas were standing there going, "Woo!"
All right. Steven, lastly, let's get your opinion. Are you excited for any of these upcoming DVD releases?
I'm mainly interested in the Mid-South one, just to see the booking style back then. I'm not too familiar with it, and from listening to Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast, I'm pretty interested to see how they book the shows.
The smoky room booking, that's what it's all about. Yeah, I guess that's enough to get me to maybe check it out, but I'll wait for Netflix probably.
They've done a really good job getting the WWE releases onto Netflix really quickly.
Yeah.
Like that Mankind documentary I was just talking about is on Netflix now. I checked it out recently and introduced it to my wife, and she loved it.
Don't they have all the Superstar DVDs on Netflix?
Most of them.
Like they got everybody from Rey Mysterio to Big Show. I'm pretty sure.
They got a good collection on there now. Go ahead, Burhan. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We're just like technically speaking, it's Netflix US because over here, because of licensing issues, we don't get any of that stuff, which makes me sad inside. But still, I'll probably find a copy.
All my American brethren join me. We, the people, get to watch WWE DVDs. Suck
You're
it.
pointing and laughing at me, aren't you, people?
Yeah, and the best part of it is I'm a traitor to the UK.
I know you are. You know what? If only we could have a bloodline connection, Stephen, then I'll be over stateside easily. And I can watch your stateside Netflix. Damn you people.
All right, guys, so let's dig into Monday Night Raw. I just want to remind everyone out there, if you would like to call in and give us your opinions as listeners, join us here as guests on the show, you could do so by dialing area code 760-512-7247. That's area code 760-512-7247. You can also hit the little Skype icon that's right above the player on the Blog Talk Radio page and join us here live on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. So, fellas, the big story that we had going throughout the show tonight was the continuing development of a rising star named Daniel Bryan and his fight against the establishment that's being joined together with the McMahon family, Triple H, Randy Orton, and The Shield.
Well, I think you could say Daniel Bryan has arrived. Okay, he got a win clean over John Cena at SummerSlam for the WWE title. Daniel Bryan has arrived.
He's arrived, but his stock is still growing.
It's building. They're building. I wouldn't be surprised, literally, if this feud goes until WrestleMania in some form or another. Maybe at some point in time where it drops out and he gets back into the title picture. I mean, this could build long term and be huge for them. Yeah, Could you imagine a crowning moment at WrestleMania 30? Daniel Bryan wins the WWE title from Randy Orton.
Yeah, if you thought the moment he won the WWE title at SummerSlam was big,
he wins it from Triple H.
Imagine what the pop is going to be when he wins the WWE title again after all this build-up that they're doing.
The thing is, at the moment, it just seems a lot like just destroying the guy week in and week out.
Well, you've got to establish that Triple H, Randy Orton are the mean, evil, bad guys, and you've got to build it up slowly. I wouldn't want to rush it to the whole point where you had, for example, Stone Cold destroying the corporation each week.
Well, I'm not sort of technically saying that. I'm saying that Bryan needs to get his wins in there as well. And I understand he beat all three members of the Shield, but then just got totally abused in the middle of the ring. I know they're trying to make this angle sort of wind out a bit more by Triple H literally involving everybody else in terms of, like, you saw Dolph Ziggler standing there with his head held down, or The Miz with his head held down.
Big Show had his eyes closed. I mean, there was some world-class acting going on by the WWE locker room, for sure.
That's why he's in the Marine Free.
Big Show just crying, almost like saying prayers to himself, and the fist clenched like he was about to just deck Triple H. I thought he was literally going to deck Orton when he walked out because, Triple H didn't say anything about attacking Randy Orton, and he just
And they were all behind the line, I mean, it would have been perfectly legal.
Exactly.
Yeah, it would have been funny if one of them just stuck their foot out and watched them trip.
It was actually quite funny to see that, because I was sitting there thinking, I think I said to Steven actually about the whole. Didn't he have like a contract that allows him to get away with anything?
Yeah, it's like even if he gets fired, he's set for life.
Yeah.
Ironclad contract. All right, guys, I'm going to rewind it a bit, actually, to how this whole story begun this night. It actually began with the Shield out there, and it wasn't 100% officially announced, but it was fully signified that they are going to be a part of this power faction going on with Triple H and Randy Orton and the McMahons. We have Triple H come out, and he eventually invites Randy Orton out and says, thank you for being the WWE champion that everybody wants and deserves. And to congratulate him for it, and to thank him for it, rather, he gave him a brand new black Cadillac Escalade. And really cool looking car, but I think pretty much anyone, as soon as we saw it, knew where this was going.
Yeah,
it was pretty obvious.
No one on this panel was really shocked or surprised when they brought that car out. I was like, oh, that's going to be destroyed, or it's somewhat of a different condition than it's going to have. It's going to have some no plot device.
Well, I know when someone lays out my wife, I want to give them a car.
Go ahead, Paul.
I thought it was really nice that Triple H opted to use his "Bow Down to the King" theme for his corporate, takeover kind of thing, because it's kind of like Mr. McMahon's "No Chance in Hell."
I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a really good switch, and I mean, some of us called it last week. Like I think Michael said it one time. They should use Triple H's "Bow Down to the King" theme for this whole new spin on him.
I think actually that came from Tony Mango, so I can't deserve.
Oh, that was Tony. Okay, all right. I thought there were multiple people saying it.
But I totally agree. It's that shows I'm the boss. I'm heel Triple H. It deserves to kind of have that respect going on, because with his old theme, everyone was all happy about that. The fans are rallying behind him. With this one, it's like, yep, I'm the heel, I'm the boss. Do what the hell I say.
And
it's more of his wrestling theme.
It's such a small turn though, but it complements his character so much.
Yeah, definitely.
Triple H. Sorry, but Triple H would eventually end up letting Daniel Bryan know that at the end of the night, in our main event, we would have Daniel Bryan going against first Seth Rollins, then Dean Ambrose, and lastly, Roman Reigns. And what would end up being a gauntlet match. And we've seen Daniel Bryan do a gauntlet match recently, so they're really starting to show up that Daniel Bryan is a guy who can really go that extra mile to put on long points of entertainment.
He could give you 60 minutes if you really wanted to. I mean, if you put him in CM Punk, him and Punk could go an hour.
I feel like that's what this has got to be building up to. There's got to be an Iron Man match in the future.
Look, if Punk joins Triple H, could you imagine you just would not see that coming whatsoever?
I'd be very upset.
That's the fucking point.
I got to say, there is almost this hint of sympathy being built up for Paul Heyman with what's going on between him and Punk, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But there's all this, I loved you, you were my best friend in my entire life, all that coming from Paul Heyman. They didn't put it so much in the commentary this week, but last week Michael Cole was getting this very somber tone and was making it feel like people should feel bad for Paul Heyman.
Did anybody else think like it was Al Pacino talking to Fredo in The Godfather 2? I loved you. Like I'm sacrificing you to the mafia now because you betrayed me. I thought it was a great spin on everything.
Yeah.
But
all right. Hold on. Pull it back here. We get our gauntlet match later on in the main event. Daniel Bryan first going against Seth Rollins. Two of them have an absolutely fantastic match. I didn't get the exact time on it, but it had to have been somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. It went through a commercial break. Most amazing move that we saw is when Daniel Bryan takes Seth Rollins up to the top rope and does a belly-to-back suplex that flips Seth Rollins over. Daniel Bryan hits his running knee. Unfortunately, we don't get to see it because the camera being on the crowd. But Daniel Bryan gets the pin, gets the first win. Dean Ambrose immediately attacks him after that match is over, but Daniel Bryan quickly gets him into the yes lock. Roman Reigns comes in and starts attacking Daniel Bryan, causing the DQ, getting Daniel Bryan the win for that match as well. Now, I'm completely unclear of what exactly happens between the match of him and Roman Reigns. I'm guessing it was just a no contest because it never started. But we ended up having the three of them just beating down on Daniel Bryan until eventually Triple H comes out and then sends down Randy Orton, who hits an RKO on Daniel Bryan. They leave together. Triple H parts the Sea of Stars and just really dominates and shows what power that him, Randy Orton, The Shield are going to be having together.
Such a heel move. Love it. I'm going to wear my Triple H shirt tomorrow. That's how much I love this gimmick. That's how much of a mark I am.
Wait, which Triple H shirt is it?
I have the last. Well, they've all been good, but I have the what is it? Strength to Reign shirt, I think. I have the Strength to Reign and the Let Them Hate so long as they fear. Which is my favorite Roman Emperor quote.
They all go by like all these bro type quotes that you would imagine being on.
No, okay. The first one, the odor don't meant to it. That's an actual quote by a Roman Emperor.
And you don't have the Vocare ad regnum shirt, do you?
I think that's the one I do have. It's the gray one.
I miss the simple days where you just had to screw the rules, play the game. That's the shirt I had.
I mean, I like this new Triple H.
Game over? You're damn right I'm over. So I want to go around the horn here, guys. Get your opinion on the development of Daniel Bryan and the Shield for this night. Tony Mango, let's start with you. You've been pretty quiet, and you got Daniel Bryan on your team, so he's repping Team Mango. How you feeling?
I'm all for him getting as many gauntlet matches that he wins as possible to give me as many points as I can.
Does that really count as 3 points, 3 separate matches?
And no, because the Roman Reigns match was never official. He gets 2 wins.
It depends on how they classify it on WWE.com, doesn't it?
Yeah, when he originally announced it, he said it was going to be a set of one-on-one matches, and he said he was running the gauntlet. So, I don't know, we'll take a look at it.
That's what we did before, but yeah, I'm all for it. I think that there's a lot of potential for it, but as I've said many, many times, there's also the potential that they just get a little bit too excited with the Triple H thing, and they go, you know what, we need to keep booking him as the focal point, and then a month or 2 from now, we end up not seeing as much progress for Daniel Bryan as we had hoped.
Mr. Burhan, your thoughts about tonight's effects of Daniel Bryan?
It rolled me up. It rolled me up big time, but at least it proved something tonight that I kept saying was that Seth Rollins was not the weak link of the Shield. It was, they've had some great matches. It was a really, really good Raw. In terms of the storyline, again, as I said, I was extremely rolled up. Steven was reiterating that we have to let this storyline continue. As long as he's not getting buried constantly throughout the whole bloody time with this, then this should work better. I'm looking forward to how this develops, what happens next, and how this encompasses the entire roster.
They've really been letting these random stars go out there and have these high-class matches with Daniel Bryan. We've seen with Antonio Cesaro and now Seth Rollins. That's what I want to see in Daniel Bryan. I want to see him have that Shawn Michaels 1996 type run where he's just going out there having kick-ass matches with dudes every week.
Yeah, I'm the same. I believe more Bryan wrestling, the better. He's in a very prominent position at the moment.
And I just want to give a shout-out to Awesome Piano Man, who's giving you a shout-out, actually. He said, Senor Rey Burhan.
Thank you. Me no speak Espanol.
All right, Paul, your thoughts about Daniel Bryan's events tonight?
Like I said before, I think all the stuff that they're doing with him right now is going to make him pop even more. Vis-a-vis Stone Cold versus the Corporation. I mean, he got thrown off a bridge and then came back and doused everybody with a beer truck. That was, it was pretty awesome. It was one of the big things we remember about WWE. I think what's going to happen with Daniel Bryan is going to be another one of those things that we remember with the WWE. He's a fantastic athlete, and, despite all the shit that they're putting him through now, they are eventually going to put him over because that is what's best for business. Because they know it's what the crowd wants. It's what the crowd is asking for, and they're going to give it to him. Because no matter how much resistance we see from the company, they eventually give the crowd what they want. And Daniel Bryan is what they want, and Daniel Bryan is a damn good athlete. That match versus Seth Rollins was one of the best matches I've seen Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins perform in. It was a great match. I think that was the highlight of the night.
All right. Brandon, your thoughts of tonight's events for Daniel Bryan?
Yeah, I just want to say something. Yeah, Burhan, you were the only one on this program that say that Seth Rollins was not the weak link in the Shield. The only one.
Yeah.
Hashtag sarcasm.
Yeah.
I thought this angle is great. I think I've made my feelings quite known on that. I think Bryan is a star. I mean, you saw they're giving him all the usual things that they're trying to build as the next guy, and especially now with Cena out for 4 to 6 months. Now's the time to build their talent. Daniel Bryan, they got to build. They got to build Curtis Axel during this time, and they're doing that now with both of these guys. So I'm all in favor, man. Building new stars is good. Daniel Bryan is a star, and I've been saying that since 2007.
Steven, your thoughts about Daniel Bryan's events tonight?
As long as the payoff in the end is good, it's all worth it. I don't mind him getting beaten down for the next few months as long as he keeps getting some big wins now and again. And in the long run, be it WrestleMania or be it Survivor Series, he eventually gets the strap back.
Beard versus title, that's all I'm saying.
Man, do you know what he needs, though? He needs to come back out to the final countdown.
I think we just became best friends. Since day one, since we walked into this company, it's like, man, he needs to come out in the final count. Flight of the Valkyries is good, but it's not the final count.
Yeah, just picture Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. Final countdown plays as he comes down to WrestleMania.
Yeah, Voices ain't got nothing on the final countdown.
Yeah, Voices ain't got nothing. I think that's what we need to actually cling to here.
Telling you, he comes out with the final countdown at WrestleMania, I will have a heart attack in New Orleans. I will teleport myself to New Orleans using Goku's instant transmission technique.
Brandon would just have his face.
You better transport over here first and take me with you if it's the final countdown, because I gotta see that shit.
Can only do it twice.
Awesome Piano Man says they should do the final countdown with the original band.
Oh!
Together, Europe on stage at WrestleMania.
At WrestleMania.
My God.
Are they still alive? Do we have to dig them up?
The 80s were a hell of a decade, man.
Hologram Europe.
I don't see why it's impossible, though. I mean, Punk got cult personality.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the greatest WrestleMania ever.
Well, speaking of Punk, guys, let's go into his events tonight because that's probably the second biggest thing to go down. We had a match that was actually pre-booked between Curtis Axel and CM Punk, and isn't it amazing, like, how often, or how rarely, I should say, that they actually have matches booked before the show even starts? What kind of, like, shit show is this? Who goes into a show without these matches prepared? So, what we actually got to decide throughout this match, they gave us a WWE app poll, and all the choices basically had to do with Paul Heyman. One of them was like a special guest referee. I think the other one is that he's banned from ringside. But the one that the fans ultimately decided to go with was that if Curtis Axel lost the match, then Paul Heyman would have to be in the ring for some amount of time with CM Punk.
Funny how one of the options wasn't that the Intercontinental title was on the line, because that's at Night of Champions, right? Oh, wait.
Did they strictly say that was not going to be a title match?
For now, they have.
They said it's a handicap elimination match.
They might realize what they did and add a stipulation. That'll make him drop the belt prior to the event.
Yeah.
I think they're doing this just to avoid having him drop the title.
Yeah, I think they're going to keep it on him for a while.
And that's weak.
I love what Burhan said earlier tonight, that the fat guy in the crowd last week at Raw got his whole family to vote for that 18%. Paul Heyman should be the guest referee.
Yeah, I love how I'm taking my wife to Night of Champions and I'm not explaining, oh yeah, it's just a pay-per-view where they have all the belts on the line. Oh, well, fuck that.
It's a novel concept because when you think about it, half these pay-per-views, you don't even see an Intercontinental title match anymore.
Yeah.
But, they had a match tonight. It was also a non-title match. Punk ended up getting the win after a GTS. Then Curtis Axel ended up coming for the save when Paul Heyman was in the ring. Found a kendo stick under the ring. Who knows why it was there, but he hands it to Paul Heyman after handcuffing CM Punk, and the two of them just continue to humiliate and beat down CM Punk with the kendo stick. Paul Heyman starts yelling, "I loved you. You were my family. You were my everything."
Godfather.
And then they leave as Punk begins to get checked out by medics. And that was what happened with CM Punk and Curtis Axel. Go around the horn here and get your guys' thoughts about CM Punk and Curtis Axel's events. We'll start with Steven for this one.
I'm sorry, my audio blocked out for a second.
The CM Punk and Curtis Axel, everything that went down between those two tonight.
Man, if I was Punk and I went backstage, I would kill Heyman after that. Man, he was stiff as hell with that kendo stick. But as far as the storyline goes, I'm loving it right now. I cannot get enough of Paul Heyman and CM Punk interacting. The promos are awesome. And the in-ring work was pretty good tonight between Curtis and Punk. I see at the end of this, Curtis is going to come out looking a lot better and gaining some real experience.
Do you think he's going to get a clean pin on CM Punk?
Clean? Hell no. WWE doesn't book clean matches.
Well, what do you think? We're going to get like interference by Heyman or something? I mean, either way, do you think Curtis Axel's going to end up getting the pin on CM Punk?
It depends if the title's on the line. If the title's on the line, I see some bullshit finish going down. Otherwise, I could see Punk winning the match and somehow Paul Heyman weaseling his way out the arena.
All right, Paul, your thoughts?
You know, they always have Paul Heyman weasel out of the arena. I think they might want to do a change on that. I think they might want to see CM Punk get his hands on Paul Heyman. Because we've seen Paul Heyman betrayals before. Let's be honest. Paul Heyman betrayals are nothing new. But this one smells a little different. I'm just saying. I mean, you know, after all the shit that they went through, I know this is all, you know, just storyline, but this one, it kind of smells like CM Punk is going to get his hands on Paul Heyman. I love, like Steven said, I love the back and forth between Punk and Heyman. This is great dialogue. And Punk challenging that fat man last week was the most awesome thing I've seen in a long time.
Be a star.
Yeah, be a star and bully the fat guy in the third row. but
yeah, but he had it coming.
Yeah, he did have it coming. He was booing the best in the world.
As I say in Chicago, he only had himself to blame.
And, you know, Night of Champions is in Detroit, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, and Detroit's close enough to Chicago where you're going to have a very pro CM Punk crowd. And I just think it's going to happen.
Awesome Piano Man raises a question inside the chat room here. What was the crowd chanting after the attack? I heard Paulie or boring. I think they were chanting Walrus. Yeah, I think they were chanting Walrus.
Yeah, it was Walrus.
I couldn't imagine they were chanting boring.
It sounded a lot like, at first it sounded a lot like boring.
It did sound like boring, but I think it was just coming off weird because when it eventually went on, it sounded like Walrus. And how could they possibly be chanting boring there?
Well, I think we've been conditioned to hearing certain chants that we sometimes try to hear what's not really there sometimes.
It's kind of like when you see a face in inanimate objects. It's just because like what your eyes are used to looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're bringing up like Taco Jesus kind of stuff in the middle of it.
Taco Jesus. Nice name drop.
It's a new character. It's going to tag up with Los Matadores. Taco.
That's the repackaged Taco Jesus.
So, speaking of tacos, let's talk about what the big Mexican storyline going on right now is, and that's involving the world heavyweight title.
Triple segue.
It's got Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio. We're going to be seeing them heading into Night of Champions get each other, and we know that because they face each other tonight. And with the stipulation on that match was if RVD won, he would get to face Alberto Del Rio for the title at Night of Champions, which RVD did manage to pull off. RVD still came out with Ricardo Rodriguez as his announcer / friend manager type guy. Ricardo was wearing a airbrushed RVD shirt, and that was that. Nothing too special here. I kind of wish we didn't see this match on live TV. I mean, I think we all kind of raised that point. Why do that? It's not like these guys had a spectacular match that we're going to be super hyped to see it again anytime soon. Tony, your thoughts on that?
I absolutely hate it when they do this. Not only just the idea that they're going to do two of the people that I can't stand on the roster facing each other, and as I mentioned before, this idea that they booked RVD to look like he would get another U.S. title match and Christian get another World Heavyweight title match, and then they switched it. But on top of that, they really need to stop doing pay-per-view matches on the Raw beforehand. now there's no incentive for me to want to watch this match because I've already seen it.
All right, before we get the rest of your guys' opinion, we actually have a caller on the line. Caller, you're on the line from 830. Tell us what's your name, where you're calling from.
My name's Texas Jeff. I'm calling from Texas, man.
Texas Jeff from Texas. What's up, Texas Jeff? What's on your mind?
Oh, not much, man. I'm just saying what's up. I'm just bored looking around online. Saw you guys had a show.
Are you a wrestling fan, Texas Jeff?
Yeah, I still watch wrestling, man. I'm just not near as into it as I used to be. I was a big fan of WCW and stuff like that. I still watch and stuff because one of my good friends is into it, so I still watch it during the week and stuff. But just not.
You watched Raw tonight?
Yeah. I missed like a little bit of it, so I'm not sure if Dolph was on the show. That's one of my favorites at the moment.
Yeah.
I believe all Dolph got tonight was a little bit at the end where he had a small face-to-face with Triple H. Really nothing significant.
Yeah, I saw that part.
What's your favorite thing about Dolph Ziggler?
Man, I don't know, man. He's just, I feel like if he was given the chance, man, I feel like he could be real good, man. He sells great. He's real good in the ring. I think he's pretty good on the mic. Maybe could be a little better. I'm not going to lie, but I just think I've been a big fan of him for a long time.
What are your thoughts about Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton and that whole story going down right now?
I think it's pretty good, man. If my phone hangs up, I'll call right back in a minute because this cordless phone's dying. But, yeah, I like it, man. I pay attention to the Internet somewhat. Well, my friend does and relays it to me, and a lot of people are saying Daniel Bryan is getting buried or whatever. I don't see how he's getting buried when he's in the top storyline right now. I think it's pretty good, man. Something different.
Steven, you have a question?
Yeah, you say you really only follow it because your friend's around. Your friend enjoys it. I mean, has this show like this sold you on the pay-per-view?
Man, I really can't say Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not like a big naysayer. I don't trash everything I see, but if it was just me who was going to watch it by myself, I would probably not buy the pay-per-view.
Texas Jeff, what was your favorite period of wrestling where it really did have you hooked?
When I'm 23 now, so I guess when I was about 9 or so, no, maybe a little older probably. I was really into WCW, man, back when it was like Lex Luger's my favorite wrestler, man. I know he's not really all that good or whatever, but I was always a big fan of him and Kevin Nash and stuff like that. And then I switched over to WWF when they got bought. I was a big fan for about 5 years.
Were you into the Monday Night Wars?
Yeah, I was into that. Looking back, they probably could have done it a lot different, but at the time back then, man, I didn't care. It was wrestling, and I loved it. You know what I mean?
So what do you think they could do now to bring that kind of fire back and get you interested and bring mass audience appeal back to it?
Man, I'm not really sure, man. I know they cater a lot to the kids and stuff, but I look at it like I used to be that kid, you know, I really don't know, man. Maybe try to find more of a balance, you know. Maybe not make it all PG. I don't know. It's hard to explain, man, because I really don't know. Maybe give it a little bit better balance and make a little more cutting edge storylines, maybe.
All right.
How often do you watch a pay-per-view?
I watch every pay-per-view.
Oh, do you? So you're definitely going to be watching Night of Champions then?
Oh, yeah.
What do you hope to see go down there? Anything special? Because right now it's seeming like most of the matches are starting to take shape. What are you most excited for, and what do you hope to happen there?
I'm not really, actually, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what matches are confirmed. I mean, is Bryan going to wrestle Orton?
Bryan Orton is currently confirmed. RVD and Alberto Del Rio is confirmed for the World Heavyweight title. It's looking like we might have something with The Miz and Fandango. The Shield may be taking on Mark Henry and Big Show. That one's not confirmed yet.
AJ Lee Natalya isn't confirmed yet, but it's pretty much hinted at. And there's the Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman against CM Punk one. And there's actually a rumor going around, and it seems to be kind of solid, that Dolph Ziggler will face Dean Ambrose.
There you go.
Ooh, that's nice.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah.
That's worth finding right there, man. That's a good match. If they give him time, that's a real good match.
And Ziggler hasn't won the U.S. Championship yet.
Yes, he has.
Yes, he has.
Has he?
He had a huge
U.S.
U.S.
champion
title.
for a long time.
Yeah, that was during his Vicky Guerrero days.
Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry.
Well, that just shows how
it seems like I'm not really happy, man. Like about I'm not one of the guys that always wants to see my guy doing good, but I feel like Dolph paid his dues and he was finally getting up there. It kind of seems like he's on the back burner again. Like
he was there. He had that belt, and it just seems like no matter what, he always just gets dropped back down and has to claw his way back up into that spotlight.
Yeah,
because I was like, man, when shit.
Go ahead, caller.
When he lost it, I was like, okay, well now that I was kind of thinking with Daniel Bryan, well, people are going to want to see him. They'll get behind him when he works his way back up. But now he's not even in the run right now. Now for some reason RVD is being accompanied by Ricardo for all the Hispanics for some reason. I don't even know if RVD is Hispanic, but
he's a Mexican's biggest export, man. He was doing Mexico before Rey Mysterio.
All right, Jeff, I got two people I want to ask your opinion of. One of them is Bray Wyatt, who we just ran down the card for Night of Champions, looking like he might be a man without a match going into that. But we had a lot of hype going up for him with the videos that he had. He's a really great talker, but lately his matches have been falling flat. So where is he standing at for you right now?
I was real excited about it, man, because my friend watched NXT and all that stuff. And was telling me about him, showing me promos. I was like, yeah, this might be pretty cool, man, but it just seems like he's kind of, like, not falling stale because it's too soon for that, I guess, but I was hoping, like, that match with Kane, there'd be a little bit more, and I just, like, I'm not going to lie, just wasn't into it really at all, man. I was just, I don't know, just wasn't really into it. I hope that he can kind of take off a little bit and stuff like that. I think he could be good. It's just, me personally, I'm not as into him as I want to be.
And the other person I wanted to ask you about, John Cena.
Oh.
I like John, man. He puts on solid matches, man. He says some cliche stuff, but I mean everybody does really. CM Punk does too sometimes. I mean I like John, man. I used to not be the biggest fan, but I mean I think he's not the best wrestler, but I mean neither was Hulk Hogan, you know, but the people like him. So I mean I don't mind the guy. I'd like to see someone else, you know, maybe get put up there and stuff like that. But I'm not like a big John Cena hater or whatever, like a lot of people I see on the internet and stuff.
That's good. It's good to be open-minded. A lot of people just quickly judge and hate him just because it's a cool thing to hate him.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I just don't mind him. He's not my favorite by any means, but I think he put on a great match with Daniel Bryan. He's put on great matches with CM Punk. He's put on some good matches, man. He's cut some good promos too.
Jeff, I know you didn't get to watch the whole show tonight, but let me ask you, what was the highest point of Raw tonight for you, and what was the lowest point of Raw for you tonight?
Man, was there a Divas match? That'd probably be the lowest.
we had a rematch
Was there a Divas match?
We had a rematch of Natalya and Brie Bella. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, I think I remember that slightly, unfortunately. And I guess the highest point, I just like what they're doing with I think it could be a little bit better, but the Randy Orton and Triple H and Daniel Bryan thing's cool. I kind of wish Randy Orton was kind of coming out in a suit, even though that might be like too much of like the evolution. But I think it'd be cooler like to push him as like the corporate champion kind of thing, from what my buddy and I were talking about. But I think they're doing all right with it.
Jeff, I have to ask you. Did you see the Cadillac Escalade?
Yeah, that was pretty. I don't know, that was all right. I don't know. I kind of like zoom in and out of wrestling. Like I'll have it on my TV, but I'll kind of be doing other stuff sometimes. But yeah,
3 hours is hard to give your full attention to it.
Yeah, they need to go back to 2 hours, man. It's like I don't know.
Absolutely agree. All right, Jeff, anything else on your mind tonight?
No, I just thought I would call in and see. I'm part of that. I think Clint put me in that Facebook group, and I just saw like there was a show going on, so I thought I would call in for a minute, man.
No, man. We appreciate having you. It was a good conversation. Call in anytime, man. We're here every week after Raw.
Cool, man. You guys have a good night.
You too, man. Take care. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, Jeff. He just dropped a powerful name. That's all I'm going to say. So if he's good by Clint, he's good by me. I vouch for him.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
I make the blood vouch for him. Zaros Ohen Daxos.
So yeah, we thank Texas Jeff for giving us a call here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post show. If anyone else out there would like to give a call in to join us here and give your thoughts about tonight's Monday Night Raw events, call us at area code 760-512-7247. It's area code 760-512-7247. Right before we had Jeff join us, we were talking about Rob Van Dam versus Alberto Del Rio. We had just finished up getting Tony's opinion. Going to pass it on now to Steven's opinion. What's your thoughts about the developing match between Rob Van Dam and Alberto Del Rio?
Well, as someone that's actually going to be at the pay-per-view, it's kind of annoying seeing it on TV already and then going to have to sit through it live, unless they can change it up with a gimmick match. I'm not a fan of giving away matches on free TV. I think I brought it up in the chat that we was in.
You're an old school guy, right, Steven? You like the old school way of booking things?
Yeah, I'm pretty much... Wrestling's simple. You don't have to make it complicated. Booking wrestling as wrestling was booked still works.
Burhan, your thoughts of Del Rio and Rob Van Dam?
As I said, I just find this whole match pointless, in my opinion. Ricardo could have partnered with anyone. He could have brought a new face in the company to face Del Rio. Van Dam's been putting on great matches. I just don't understand the whole storyline between him and Del Rio, to be honest. I think they wasted the match on free TV, giving him number one contendership. They wasted it. They could have found another way to have these guys battling for the title. In terms of their match at the pay-per-view, it has to be something bigger. The stipulation has to go up. But apart from that, it wasn't anything to be gawked at. It was okay. It wasn't amazing.
Brandon?
Yeah, you know what? Here's the reason why I think they're giving this match away for free, as everyone's called it. These guys need to get used to each other in the ring, and there's only so many opportunities they could have to wrestle, especially in front of a live audience. So you're going to have to see whether these two guys can go for 15 or 20 minutes. You don't know where they're going to put this match at the beginning. This match could be, if they're the way they're doing it, this match could open the show. So you're going to want your first match to go at least 15 minutes. You're going to want to show that these two guys can put on a capable match with each other. If not, they're going to give them 5 minutes and then quickly move on to the next storyline. I personally think Ricardo Rodriguez should channel Bill Alfonso and come out with a baseball cap and whistle, maybe a towel. He's certainly familiar with useless props. So just ham it up Bill Alfonso. He's doing the right job. He got on top of the table and, popped the crowd. This guy's doing good things. That's all I'm saying. He's endearing himself well to creative and I'm sure the McMahons.
Paul?
I totally agree with Brandon on a lot of those points. RVD wrestles best when he has wrestled with the person before. I mean, how many times do we see RVD versus Sabu, RVD versus Tommy Dreamer? This man is an absolute phenomenon in the ring, and I don't know why people are hating on him just because, he does the same shit. I don't care that he does the same. It's great shit. Thank you. It is great shit. It is exciting shit. And I for one, would like to see this World Heavyweight Championship match.
There's shit on the windows! Oh my god! My house is full of shit! He's shit everywhere!
Thank you, Bob Saget. And no, I for one would like to see this match be a no disqualification match, and RVD does a pole-to-pole Van Daminator with a trash can into Del Rio's face. I would love to see that again. And
as long as there's nothing on a pole match. That's all I'm saying.
RVD is one of the most gifted wrestlers we've ever seen. And, he deserves a World Heavyweight Championship. He deserves to hold all 3 titles. He is just that good. He is just that damn good.
Shrug.
Okay. Well, then let's talk about probably the next highlighted match that we had of the night. We had Christian going against Randy Orton. Christian bringing out a solid match with Randy Orton, ultimately ending up on the losing end. Where does Christian go from here? I'll pass around to you guys to talk about that because we know Randy Orton's going to be set for a while. Christian kind of seems like one of those higher profile guys, but he's going to be without a direction. And I guess the first guy we should certainly talk to is Tony Mango because you recently dropped him from your fantasy team in favor of bringing CM Punk aboard.
I'll tell you where he goes, the shitter. If we're talking about shit, Christian is knee-deep in it. He has nowhere to go. If they really gave a damn, they would have continued the feud with Dean Ambrose and RVD and that whole thing that I had talked about before, and they would have had another rematch between him and Del Rio. Clearly, they don't value that, and they decided to just switch it up for the hell of it. So in the meantime, there's nothing that they're building up with Christian against Dean Ambrose to kind of switch it in like a complete 180. They're giving him nothing. Right now, he's just fodder for Randy Orton. So that's all he's going to do. He's going to have matches with people like Del Rio where he'll lose, and that way Del Rio will look good going into Night of Champions to face Rob Van Dam, because you can't just keep having Rob Van Dam against Del Rio, but you can make him beat Christian, and you can make Orton beat Christian again, and you can make the Shield attack Christian and all that. He's just going to be losing. That's why I would drop him.
Mr. Burhan, your thoughts about where Christian's going to be heading next?
Straight to the bottom of the pile.
Oh.
Because I'm with Tony on this one. It's ridiculous the way he's being treated at the moment. I think his feud with Del Rio had legs. They cut him off way too soon. They've kind of thrown him out there so Del Rio could feud with someone else. I yearned for the days where they would have a nice, maybe a couple of months feud going on between two wrestlers. I don't see the reason why they backed him out of it, but obviously they're going to move him into something else. Maybe he will end up facing Axel for the IC belt, or even facing, Ambrose for the United States Championship. So he's probably on one of those, but who knows?
Well, obviously his problem was that his catchphrase was 1 more match. Maybe he should have said 3 more matches. Steven, your thoughts for Christian? I think you said you were a Christian fan once?
Yeah,
maybe I made that up.
Was being the main word. Back in 2005, I was a peep, but...
Once a peep, always a peep, Steven. Once a peep, always a peep, okay? We are all part of the peepulation.
Peepulation, that's...
The peepulation.
That's nice. That should be coined by Wikipedia.
He's the pontiff of the peepulation.
But
Steven, good? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, he's pretty much done as much as he can. I think he's best just putting over the younger talent right now. I mean, there's not much more you can do with the guy. He's been around since forever, so I see him being used as a building block to put over guys like Del Rio, to put over guys like Dean Ambrose.
Brendan?
One word, you were looking at someone for the Wyatt family to go after? There you go. Christian.
Ooh, I like the idea of that.
There you go. I'm just telling you, have to. That's probably when you're building a new heel, and that's probably what I guess you could kind of classify him as. He's a heel. Oh, I really like it though. I want to like it, but it's a heel. You're gonna throw him all these established face characters that they have. So you're gonna throw him your Christians. You're gonna feed him when Santino Marella comes back. You're gonna feed him. So I mean, at best, at this stage in his career, he's an enhancement talent. But that's not bad to be an enhancement guy. He's going to tutor all these young guys that are coming up in the roster, all these NXT guys that are just going to have this wealth of information, this 20-year-plus career. They can say, hey, man, what would I do in this situation? What did you do? What did you and Edge think about? These are the guys that you want to have in your locker room.
Finish it out here, Paul.
Okay, I'm gonna be brutally honest. Unless you bring back Chris Jericho to feud with him, just retire.
Oh.
No, retire. And let him get his Hall of Fame ring. Because he's not doing anything, and he's not going to do anything in the future. We know this. We absolutely 100% know this. He's not going to get another World Heavyweight Championship. He's not going to get the WWE Championship. He's barely got a chance at the IC Championship. Retire, and get your ring. And just be happy doing that. Don't let the company humiliate you anymore.
So, Paul, should he just close his eyes?
All right, with that, guys, we got a caller on the line. Bring him on here. We got caller from the 661. Caller, what's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, we lost caller from 661, whatever the heck they were. All right, guys, so let's move on here. Next thing we could talk about is we had some situations going down with Fandango and Cody Rhodes. First off, they started with a one-on-one match where Fandango ended up getting distracted, where The Miz came out to Fandango's music and had his tights on and was dancing like him. Brendan, perhaps you or Mike or even Steven can answer this for me. Is there some kind of like wrestler code where you don't put on another man's trunks?
No, if you're doing it for a gimmick, you can do that.
And if you lose a bet.
Yeah, as long as you wear something underneath it and your own junk isn't rubbing up, junk, I think you're good. But I think, can I say something really quick? Can we call when a match starts out as a singles match and works its way into a tag match? Can we call that a Teddy Long?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it already was.
Okay, I didn't know if that was.
Holla.
I didn't know if that was official vernacular, but I'm making a movement to have that be official.
I mean, you going on about wearing someone else's gear. There's a lot of times where if you lose a bet, you can end up with someone else's gear going out there.
Or you wear a dress or something like that. That's really the worst thing I've come across in life.
I don't know. I've seen someone go out in the tidy whities.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh good lord.
We got callers on the line here. I don't even know what to do here. We got a caller from 661 on the line once again. Caller from 661. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello.
Hello. Please answer the phone.
Not there. All right. Well, then we have a caller from 714. Caller from 714. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Sean. I'm calling from Oakland.
Hi, Sean from Oakland. How you doing tonight? What you think of Monday Night Raw?
Oh, wrestling tights. Oh, I love my men in wrestling tights.
Troll.
Not even a very good one, man. Come on. We got a caller from 719. Caller from 719. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Michael. I'm calling from Colorado. How you guys doing tonight?
Hey, Michael from Colorado. What's shaking, dude? What'd you think of Raw tonight?
Pretty sick. I mean, dude, the reason why I'm calling is because back in high school I used to be varsity. We didn't go as hardcore as nationals, but we went to regionals, man. And it's something I really enjoyed, and I'm kind of thinking about getting back into because now I'm in college right now. It's like a lot of people are trying to get me to play football and stuff, but I'd rather start getting into wrestling.
Wait! I know who this is. Tony, do you remember our friend Michael from Smark Out moment when we went live?
Yeah, are you going to tell us about the boxing glove?
What are you talking about?
You can't troll the same place in the same story twice, buddy.
Lick my ball sack, you fucking faggot.
Yeah, your mum licks mine every night, mate. Have a nice one.
Oh, all right. We got another call.
Lovely.
Well, let's see if this one's actually legit. It's Final Vinyl giving us a call from the Skype network. Final Vinyl, what you calling about tonight, man?
Hey, let me tell you first that I've been around. I've been a bouncer for many, many years, so I know.
We have Boss Rutan on the line. El Guapo.
El Guapo.
El Guapo. I think we just might have to suspend callers. I think we're getting trailed by the large-scale troll operation.
Might as well be Los Matadores.
Because 5 seconds it's going to take before you're going to be choked out, okay?
Okay.
El Guapo.
Hell, I say keep them coming.
Yeah. Yeah, keep them coming.
Honestly,
I love that.
Should have kept Bass on. I wanted to hear a liver shot rant.
I don't know if this is all the same guy, but the board literally just lit up with 3 callers at once. I was like, oh, this is weird. Let's see what happens here.
Viber or like using some sort of VoIP or some shit like that.
It was actually hilarious because I remembered Michael so vividly. As soon as he started going, I'm training to be a wrestler, I just think college, I just went, no. Yeah, that's the new from Smark Out moment.
Yeah.
We need Jamal back.
I can't give him an A, but solid B+.
Solid.
Oh, you got Stephanie McMahon.
I don't know. He's about a 4 out of a 10.
No, I think Boss Rutan was definitely the better one. I like Boss. At least you were creative with your soundboard. AKA El Guapo.
So after The Miz causes a distraction for Fandango, giving Cody Rhodes the easy opportunity to get a roll-up pin, we had Brad Maddox come out and do the Teddy Long and bring this from a singles match into a tag match. We had Fandango and Damien Sandow teaming against The Miz and Cody Rhodes. And the winner of this match ended up being The Miz and Cody Rhodes after Fandango did another walkout. This is to be like the 10th time in the past 4 or 5 months that Fandango has walked out. Go ahead, Brandon.
It's his thing now. Like, it's just what people want to see. People want to see him dance out. And so, like, maybe 1 in 5 crowds now that still do the Fandango thing. Or you'll see like pockets of Fandangoing. It's no longer the great craze that it was months ago, but you still see people doing it. That's what people want to see. That's what they pay their money to do.
You still see the little kids doing it with their father or something looking at them like, I'd join the crowd.
I'd do it, and I'd be loud as hell doing it too. I'd be one of the people starting the Fandangoing. I'd be Fandangoing during things when I was bored and trying to get the whole building to do it.
So let's go around the horn here, guys. We got 4 guys involved here. Where is this going to go for them, and what is the immediate potential future for these guys? Because some of them are either big stars who have fallen. Some of them people have been on the rise for a while now, and maybe we've seen that rise cut short. What are your guys' thoughts for these 4 guys in the future? We'll start with you, Burhan.
That's a tough one. That is extremely a tough one. In terms of the Miz and Fandango, I could see the Miz actually bulldozing over him. In terms of Cody Rhodes versus Sandow, I still believe there's going to be leading up to a match where Sandow puts the briefcase on the line. So that's probably where it's going to be headed. But, as I said, it could go either way.
All right, Brandon?
I think, Miz and Fandango is to, build Fandango back up after his injuries, and he hasn't been on TV for a while. So that's giving him a solid program to work like he had with Jericho. And, Miz's ring work might not be the most technically sound, but he does do some stuff that makes me, say, oh, okay, I can see what he's doing there, but he didn't execute it quite well. That thing where he did the roll-up under the ropes, that was perfect. Well, almost perfect. But I like this. I definitely like Burhan's idea with putting the briefcase up against Rhodes and Sandow. But Cody's got to goad him into it because, Cody's still coming off being heel, so he's still got to have that kind of cagey. Plus, he's the son of the American dream, so he's got to, coax a guy, use some shady tactic in there to, outsmart the guy. Because he's the son of the dream, baby.
Paul?
I think it's about time we get to see Mr. Anderson versus Edge 2.0 for the briefcase. Sandow definitely deserves, we've seen his in-ring ability. He definitely deserves to be a world heavyweight champion. But I think Cody deserves it more. I think Cody deserves that chance a lot more, not just because he's the son of a plumber. But he's a great in-ring athlete. And secondly, I love seeing Miz in Fandango's rainbow tights. That was kind of awesome. I'm not going to lie.
All right, guys. We got a caller on the line from 940. We're going to bring him on. Caller from 940, what's your name and where are you calling from, bud?
Yes, this is Max from Ohio.
Max from Ohio, what's shaking, dude? Thanks for calling into the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw post-show. What'd you think of Monday Night Raw tonight?
Well, I didn't get a chance to see it because I don't have cable right now, and that's why I was tuning into the BTR show post about it. But I don't have speakers, so I was just listening.
Oh. Did you want me to leave you on the line just so you could hear?
No, I'm free to talk,
Okay. So
yeah.
What do you think about what's going on right now?
About Raw? It's just like actors acting.
Is that a sonic screwdriver?
What?
Are you sonic screwdrivering us?
This is Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He must know. Do you know Doctor What, Where, When, and Why?
From my planned spinoff. And it ends with Doctor Who, What, Where, When, Why, and then the last thing is Doctor How.
It's multi-dimensional. Awesome. I want to write with you on that idea.
So if he doesn't have a TARDIS, what does he have?
It's a toilet. Imagine a toilet.
Oh, you're officially my second in command.
It's a porta potty. Yes. It's a blue porta potty.
Yes. That has infinite space inside of it.
And Paden, Burhan, we might have to just shelve production on this job for hire, and we might have to get by now. Multi-dimensional Doctor Who spinoffs.
All right, Tony, your thoughts about the potential future for these 4 stars?
Miz and Fandango pre-show. Cody and Damien Sandow. Hopefully, Money in the Bank defense, but I don't necessarily see that happening. I kind of think that they're just going to have another singles match. I really want them to have that happen because it kind of fits with the idea that Night of Champions is like built around the championships, even though you could have fooled me twice with the Curtis Axel situation. So why not have the thing that's the closest to a championship without being a championship be defended as well?
Now, with these four guys, who do you think is going to be the first one of them to get to world title status?
Other than Miz?
Well,
he already
the Miz
did?
get there again is what I'm saying, if I would count that.
I would probably say Damien Sandow. Even though it seems like he would lose the briefcase, I don't think that he necessarily would. And what I think might be happening in the future is we could see Damien Sandow cash in around, say, maybe Extreme Rules the next year and have one of those unfortunate, stereotypical Money in the Bank cash-ins where he gets buried ahead of time, starts getting a little bit more steam, gets buried again, cashes in, wins the title, and then they bury the crap out of him afterward, too. It's a very pessimistic point of view, but they've done it multiple times.
So it's like Jack's Swagger.
Yeah, a lot like Jack Swagger's. Now, they could do something opposite of that. They could actually build him up over the next few months and everything, but I don't think if Damien Sandow is cashing in, I don't think it's happening until after WrestleMania, and I don't see anybody else winning going into WrestleMania.
All right, lastly, Steven, your thoughts of these four guys.
Well, starting off with The Miz and Fandango, you've got two guys that were essentially Vince McMahon's pet projects that have fallen from grace. Fandango because of the injury, and The Miz just because he's stick around stale and he ended up becoming a face. I think really these two are just being tied into a program together just to keep them on TV and keep them busy. As far as Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes go, I think Burhan probably had the best point of view on that. It's going to be a feud that ends up going for the briefcase, and I think Cody's going to take it and become world champion.
All right. I think that'll wrap up talks with them. Our Diva segment of the night, we got to see Natalya versus Brie Bella in a rematch from their SummerSlam matchup. We had JoJo out as the special guest ring announcer, pretty much pointless. Natalya came out with the Funkadactyls, Brie came out with her twin sister, and Eva Marie. Natalya got the sharpshooter locked in, but Eva Marie causes a distraction, allowing Nikki Bella to help pull her sister out from the hold. Brie hits an X-Factor type move. I don't know if she actually has a special name for it, but she puts the pin on Natalya and wins the match. And then the match is done. AJ Lee comes onto the stage, and she mocks excitement about Total Divas. She then insults every single one of them, saying that they aren't talented enough to be champion. She says none of you will ever even be able to lace up my Chuck Taylors. So AJ's speech she had at the end, I think, is what actually would have made this whole entire thing worth watching, because otherwise, as one of our callers said before, definitely a low point of the night. We'll go around and give you guys your thoughts on that. Tony, your thoughts about our Divas tonight?
Well, it's good that they allowed AJ to do that segment, to cap that segment off, because that actually was the only good part of this. The match was not as good as what they had at SummerSlam, which that wasn't even stellar or anything, but I'm confused about why they had Natalya lose, partially because she seems like she's the one who would challenge AJ, and I just hated, if you're going to pinpoint like little bits and pieces of it, if there's one part of this that I hated about the AJ section, it would have had to have been the way that the Bellas were acting. They're overreacting of the whole, like, why don't you just come down here and all this other kind of crap. I hate it when people do that so much. And it doesn't matter if it's divas or if it's the male wrestlers or what, but I can't stand that. And when you focus that much on them and they kept cutting back, and they're doing the same thing and all that. And JoJo looks scared to even be in the ring. And, they got to give focus to Total Divas because of how much of a hit it is. But they need to figure out a different way to do it.
So, the backstage segments aren't working, the matches aren't working, then what are we going to do? Does it really leave a lot?
Run a commercial. That's it. That's all you need to do. Just go look. In this episode, you'll get to see, what's his name, John Uso feel some girl's tits up, and go watch it for that, because that's all people care about.
Steven, your thoughts about the current situations for the Divas?
Well, as far as the match went, I wouldn't know because I went to take a piss. Well, I came back and you've got AJ cutting what was a promo which was no more than a shoot and was the truth. And I think the segment could have been a lot better if you didn't have those two horse-faced slags with the Bella twins shouting their mouths off it all the time. I mean,
shut your mouth, sir.
That was brutal.
No, Steven is right.
No.
But, I mean, literally, you've got the camera panning on to AJ. She's cutting a promo, and you can hear the Bella twins from ringside screaming their asses off. And it's to the point where, why do they put them on TV? They must be the worst actors as far as any performer in probably the last 10 years that I've seen.
They're not actors at all. They're just models.
They have nice boobies.
Paul?
Yeah.
I'll stick to my original statement. Two slags.
Paul, you seem to be of a similar opinion, so why don't you follow it up?
I totally agree with Steven. The entire time AJ was doing that shoot, you could hear these bitchy Bellas screaming from the side of the ring because they think they're so important now because they're the stars of this TV show. I'm sorry, AJ said a lot of truth. She had a lot of good points to get by. And, you know, she took one shot at Natty, and you know what? I'm okay with that. She can take a shot at Natty because Natty is the hottest diva of them all. And you know what, Natalya, if you're listening to this on YouTube, I will take you in and I will love you like nobody's business.
All right.
He'll give you noogies and everything.
Okay, all right. No, I'm not going to give you noogies. Okay, whatever. Okay, but AJ made a lot of good points. She honestly did. I know why they're not putting her on this total diva show, because they're making her seem like the crazy one, and you know they don't want to put her life on display. But really, I mean, these Bellas really they really had to do this. They really had to scream and shout from the side of the ring. You saw the Funkadactyls in the ring, and they were just doing what black chicks do, and they're just like, whatever, face. You talk, whatever. I'll do what I want.
I mean, that's part of the show.
And I would prefer that to what the Bellas were doing, because they were, I mean, come on. I mean, Brie Bella is about this close to getting a boob job just like her sister.
She doesn't need it.
Brendan,
she doesn't need it, but she's going to do it.
All right, Brendan, your defense, because I know you're a big Bella lover.
I'm pro Bella. I'm pro AJ. I'm pro Natalya. I'm pro women's wrestling in theory. I just don't like the way they're doing it now, I guess. But here's what we're going to get for Night of Champions, and I know it's going to happen. And remember the championship scramble? WWE Divas title championship scramble. That's what they're doing. That's my bold sweeping prediction for what they're booking for this is going to book to.
And who's going to win?
I hope AJ. I hope I'm the future ex-wife.
I've got one word if that match happens. Clusterfuck.
There's going to be a lot of punching and kicking. I think Natalya is probably going to call that match.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mark Harris certainly isn't.
All right. Man. Steven, your opinion of the Divas? Oh, I already asked you. Burhan?
My opinion of this whole Diva situation, I think AJ had an amazing promo. I think it was believable. It made me just stop what I was doing and watch. In terms of the whole Bella thing, yeah, they sound like a bunch of idiots. Even though they are as fine as hell, they do sound like a bunch of fucking idiots. And that didn't help matters. Either they were playing those characters, which I hope they were, because disturbingly it was irritating. But in a sense, I think the only person who stood there, listened, was like Natty above all of them while the rest of them were shooting their mouths off. It's probably going to conclude with a storyline with AJ versus these girls from Total Divas. If it gets these girls away from doing their Total Diva matchups every fucking week on Raw, then I'm all for it. I just can't stand watching these guys have match after match, Natalya versus a Diva, or the Funkadactyls versus the Bellas, or God knows if JoJo's going to get involved in all this. She just stands on the fucking mic and does whatever the WWE wants to do, like sing a song or like dance monkey dance. I don't know what the fuck they do with her.
Well, doesn't she get hurt on the show? Like, I'm watching the show now. I'm catching up on previous episodes, but I think she gets hurt, so maybe she's not, actively training or not that good or something.
I just don't see any use for her. I think basically she's there as a bit of eye candy, that's it, and probably because of her relationship with Justin Gabriel. But as far as I'm concerned, she's useless.
She's there to be the tiny one and the young one and all that, because she's like 19 or something, so they're not going to invest a whole lot in her after she's that young.
Yeah, Kelly was that young when she started.
She's basically Christy Hemme at this point.
It's a long-term project. It's a long-term project. I was saying, Kelly was like 18 or 19 when the WWE signed her. Long-term project.
With the WWE, there's no such thing as a long-term project. They either like you or they don't.
With the Diva, there's such thing as a long-term project.
Yeah, Victoria was there for a long-ass time.
Exactly.
Beth Phoenix was there for a good amount of time.
Alicia Fox.
Wasn't Victoria one of Godfather's hosts?
I believe she was.
Yeah,
so was Lita.
So was Big Show's wife.
Oh!
So was one of the former hardcore champions.
I think the penny just dropped simultaneously for everyone.
Was that Molly Holly?
No, it was some blonde Godfather's hoe pinned Crash Holly. I remember he was taking a nap in the APA's office, and I guess they were like, I think they went to go get more beer, and she just snuck up and pinned Crash Holly while he was napping and won the title.
I thought that
was
was Gerald Briscoe who snuck into the APA.
It probably happened more than once, honestly.
I'm really surprised that when we were doing that, so was, and nobody said, so was your mom.
But it was actually quite funny, though, as well, because on the list it says, a hoe.
Yeah, Godfather's hoe. She doesn't have an actual name. It's not like Misty or anything like that.
She's just a hoe. Aren't they all like that? Just a hoe?
Greatest hardcore champion ever. Godfather's hoe.
Better than Stevie Richards.
All right, guys, so
that's not PG.
We got a video package tonight for Mr. Bray Wyatt. Thank goodness we didn't get a match because his last couple have just been falling absolutely flat. I thought it was a really cool little video we got tonight. He was talking about the origin of Sister Abigail, who his finishing move is named after. I couldn't really make out half what he was saying because there was all these heavy effects on his voice, but usual Bray Wyatt creepiness, I just don't know. This is starting to fall a little flat for me, and I wonder if this is going to disappear faster than what everyone expected Fandango to. Go around. Brendan?
Oh, no, I like this. This is working for me. I like everything they're doing. I love that entrance. I love that theme. They're having him squash guys because they're trying to make him seem like the monster. He took out the monster, so now this is the new monster that's coming around. And he's mysterious, and he has this weird guy with a sheep's mask and a guy with a beard. So you're having to have him destroy all this established talent because he's a young guy. He's a young heel that they're trying to build up. So it's still good for me. I like this. I'm pro Bray Wyatt.
Steven?
I'm really enjoying the Bray Wyatt character, and as far as his matches not being so good so far, I think that's more to do with who he's been working with. Kane, other than a few gems, for the most part, is not the A-star worker. 4 out of 10. And
he's reliable, and as is our truth. There are guys you can put out there, and they'll generally have decent matches.
What I'm saying is, it's not going to give him a fantastic showing and set the internet wrestling fans' world on fire with rating his performance. But moving on, I enjoy the character, but the only issue is I don't see it going to be something they can keep up in the long run. I think it's going to burn out in 12 months' time. But right now, I'm enjoying it, and the promo was awesome.
Mr. Burhan, your thoughts about Bray Wyatt's current status?
I love his promos. I don't know what the hell is happening with his in-ring matches. I saw him on NXT/FCW, and he was so much better in the ring. I don't know if it's just a mess up with him or who he's working with, but he needs to get his ring work in better shape and quick. Otherwise, we're not going to see the Wyatts back on TV for a while.
Paul?
I honestly really like this promo because at the end of the promo, it made you feel like this Sister Abigail was a real person in his life. Like, you know, he says her touch can heal anybody, but her kiss can destroy the world. And at the end, he's, you know, it looks, you know, he's acting like this is affecting him emotionally, which we haven't seen. All we've seen is him happy and smiling and doing chaos and, you know, all that stuff. But when he's talking about Sister Abigail, it looks like he's actually, you know, concerned or emotional about it. I really like this promo. I thought it was a very good promo to get the depth of the Wyatt family or Bray Wyatt himself, you know, more into the fans' minds, if that makes sense.
And Tony, your thoughts about Bray Wyatt's current status? He is also a member of Team Mango, someone you've invested into and haven't gotten a huge return on yet. What are your thoughts about him and his future?
I think it's all on creative. He seems to have a firm grasp of what his character should be and where it should go, but they don't seem to be really willing to book him in a solid feud. And that's what's really hurting him right now. If he just has matches with R-Truth, nobody's going to give a shit. It doesn't matter how well he beats him. It doesn't matter if he develops like some kind of a reputation for squashing people and all that. Squashes only go so far, and he's already done enough that people can buy into him because they were already buying into him with his match against Kane. And if you can start off having a match, especially a gimmick match, with Kane, and people will buy into the idea that you could beat him, you don't need to do squash matches anymore. Kind of like with Ryback. Ryback should be actually in a feud right now, and he isn't. So he's not doing anything worthwhile, and Bray Wyatt's not doing anything worthwhile right now either. He's not going to end up doing anything for Night of Champions, and that is really going to hurt him, because then that's going to mean he debuted, and then they stalled a little bit, waiting until SummerSlam. They had a lackluster match at SummerSlam, and now they're going to stall a whole month for Night of Champions. And really, what are the likelihoods that he is going to have some kind of a prominent feud at Hell in a Cell? Or, no, Battleground's the next one yet, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Battleground, I can't really see him getting a huge focal point there either. So WWE needs to figure out what they want to do, and they need to just go ahead and do it. They need to take that extra 15 minutes to plan it, and there's no excuses. There's far too many people on creative. They should be able to figure something out.
What about this whole Where is Kane thing?
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Kane fell into a burning ring of fire.
But they've been building it up. I mean, they have to address it at some point.
It did kind of make you think that they were going to do that, and as Awesome Piano Man posted in the chat, they just ended up playing a video that was already posted on WWE.com last week. So that was a little bit of a letdown.
It'll be weird how he's disappeared and films a movie at the same time.
They just dragged him off to the film set.
And then he might run for office too. That was like
Libertarian Kane.
It would be like, hey, there's Kane. He was in the sequel to See No Evil. Duh.
I know my name is Glenn. Sorry.
We got another Jesse Ventura on our hands.
My name's Glenn.
Oh my gosh, Kane in the Marine 5.
Oh.
No, it's going to be See No Evil again.
Yep, number 2.
See lots of evil.
See even more evil.
See more eviler. That's what it's got to be.
It's just Speak No Evil.
Oh, man.
All right, guys, so I got one final topic for us to talk about, and that is tonight we got to see Titus O'Neil take on Jack Swagger. Titus O'Neil continuing to get the rub because of his buddy Darren Young recently coming out to TMZ.
Gay bump.
Yep. Well, surprisingly, we see Titus O'Neil in a match instead of Darren Young. Maybe not surprisingly, because Titus O'Neil is the star of that team. Titus O'Neil would be victorious over Jack Swagger. Hopefully we'll continue to see a lot of shine put on the primetime players and continue to see the tag team division in general be reinvigorated with the primetime players being there. The Shield continue to being a dominant part of the big picture. The Wyatts being around now. The Usos continue to have a little momentum still on their side. And with the incoming of Los Matadors, you got to think the tag team division might actually be looking good. And I know we've thought this many times in years past, but it's got a lot of potential right now. Let's go around and talk about that, Brendan.
Yes, I mean, I hope the Los Matadors gimmick really doesn't kill the Cologne's career. I mean, is that who that really is? That's what they're being repackaged as. That's
what Scoops is.
Scoops tells you that. Well, I trend to scoopscoops.com, my one-stop shop for all your wrestling news needs. Yeah, the tag team division definitely needs it. Real Americans are potential. The Usos are in there. The problem is the Shield just seems to be on that such level now where, I mean, they just seem to run through everybody. So who seems like a viable number one contender? They need to have like a tournament or something like that, like the same way Team Hell No won the titles. Wasn't that they won a tournament? Or do it was a tournament to face them or something like that. Wasn't that how Rhodes Scholars got pushed earlier in the year, if I recall correctly?
Dude, I can't even remember everything that happened on Raw.
I know.
Serious?
I know. Well, I don't remember either.
Raw
but I'm just
3 hours. Do you want me to remember multiple of them?
I don't remember what happened almost a year ago.
I will chip in here, actually, and it was a tournament.
It was a tournament, yes. I vaguely remember these things. I'm right. Man.
Tony Mango, save us, please.
I'm all for any reinvigoration of the tag team division as you can get. I don't know if necessarily those Matadors is really going to be this thing that catches on insanely. It could, like you were saying before. I think that it's a really good idea if they can get the crowd to chant Olay, like, you know, set up to a move, kind of like Sweet Chin Music or something like that. But you guys there?
Yeah.
All right. Skype just acted weird for me. The thing that I'm most excited about is something that I actually don't think that we are going to end up having happen anytime soon, and that's the Shield and the Wyatt family facing off each other. We've got these groups of 3, and supposedly Los Matadors might have a third member as well. And I'm kind of curious why they keep going with 3 as opposed to stables of 4 or 5, or just keeping it at 2. So, what do you guys think?
Well, we can get 3-man band involved in that little mix-up there.
Right, yeah. We have the Wyatt family, 3-man band. We have the Shield, Los Matadors.
3 rules.
There's, you never know. I mean, there might be a third person that will add to Real Americans.
Don't hinder the gender.
I doubt we'll get another person for the Usos, but I really want to see something in the future that happens.
You can make one more run.
Yeah, why not? But I really want to see something in the future that builds upon this, and maybe we have some kind of like a big tornado tag thing, or something that I really hope that they do at WrestleMania, where they have like a tag team battle royal. I'm all for it.
Like another ladder match.
Reigns face. I just have him team with the Usos, and they all look ridiculous. No.
What were you saying? I couldn't hear you.
I said we could turn Roman Reigns face and then have him team with the Usos.
They could do that.
That'd look awkward as hell.
It would be. It's hilarious.
Because he's so much like a giant, like, chiseled brown god.
All right, guys. Steven, your opinion of the current tag team division that we have going on?
Well, I'm a big fan of tag team wrestling. The issue is, as someone stated, but the Shield are incredible. You've kind of got like the Shield on another league as compared to all the other tag teams. You don't buy that another tag team can beat them. I mean, the Usos had a great match and they got the crowd into it, but in the end, you knew who was going to win. So I think they need to establish a couple of face tag teams, try to get them up to that level that the Shield are, and I don't think the current tag teams are going to be able to accomplish that. In fact, as far as the Los... What the hell are they called?
Matadores.
Yeah, that.
Matadores!
Yeah, the Los, whatever that word is. I don't
fucking British twat.
I don't think they're going to make it to TV. I think they're going to get cut before they even make it there. It's going to be another Kazani.
You know what? You want to hear what I think it is? And maybe this is just me being wrestling conspiracy theorist guy. If it is the Colognes, like they brought all 3 of them back, watch it just be like they conned us all and now we're back. And Carlito's just going to come back to Indianapolis and just,
He spits in the faces of people who don't want to be cool.
He's the wrestlers that tried to be cool.
I don't know if it was SE Scoop's error, as they prone to do, but they had it down as Hunico and Epico as opposed to Primo and Epico, so I don't know which guys it's going to be.
At this point, it's all speculation anyway. But all right, guys, we got less than 8 minutes here. We're going to go around the horn one last time. Get your high point, low points really quick. Steven, your high point, low point of tonight's Monday Night Raw.
High point was probably the CM Punk and Paul Heyman segment. I just think the two guys played really well off each other, and watching CM Punk get stiffed and battered up by Heyman was really entertaining for me. As far as the low point goes, Divas.
Brendan?
I can't pick one particular moment. One thing that stood out for me, Orton, when he had Christian perched up on the rope, pushed him, and he took that sick bump to the outside. That was a great move. That was good. Another high point was Triple H parting the crowd as he leaves. I mean, that's just indelible moments to just stick in that this is the new regime in charge. Low point, I mean, I really didn't watch enough to have a low point, so I can't really say.
Tony?
High point, AJ's promo, other than the Bella Twins' involvement in it. And low point, when we had the card come out and everybody knew that it was going to get ruined, but Sheamus didn't come out and steal it.
And drive it through and then eat a burrito.
Burhan?
High point, CM Punk, Paul Heyman, AJ's promo, and Triple Moses. Low point, the Bellas yelling like jackals. I think that's my only low point in this whole thing.
Paul?
High point, the whole Daniel Bryan versus Orton and Triple H throughout the night, and AJ's promo. Low point, nobody punching out Orton or Triple H at the end of the night.
Oh, it's got to build anticipation.
I know, but I fucking wanted it so bad. I just wanted it so bad.
Giving a shout out to Awesome Piano Man. High point, Bryan German suplex to Rollins / AJ Lee's promo, and the low point, Brendan Liggan.
Yes, I am the heel of the show.
Then he said JK, low point was the Bellas. As far as for me, my high point was definitely the Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins match, specifically that awesome belly-to-back suplex that flipped Seth Rollins over. Absolutely amazing move. My low point of the night, I want to say the Bellas cackling, but yeah, we'll go with that. We'll go with the Bellas cackling. That was pretty goddamn annoying. So we got just over 5 minutes here, guys. We're going to go around the horn. This will actually be the final time. Do our plugs. Tony, why don't you start us off?
All right, as stated before, I am the host of Smack Talk at youtube.com/SmarkOutMoment, the official podcast show of SmarkOutMoment.com, which, by the way, is currently staffing new contributors. So if you'd like to write for the wrestling website, whether it be TV show results, breaking news, editorial columns, whatever, shoot me a message on the contact form of the website, and I'll get back to you. Also, check out fanboysanonymous.com. It's your source for everything in the world of geek culture. OutOnLimbs.com, my articles on Bleacher Report, blah, 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 et cetera, a mango tray.
Mr. Burhan, your plugs.
As always, I'm on fanboysanonymous.com, and for the whole Smark Out Moment thing, he won't let you host the show, so don't ask. In terms of anything else, youtube.com/TheNerdGenius, www.nerdgenius.com, and also stay tuned to here to Mega Powers Radio for I Got Gameplay every Saturday at 8 p.m. And this week, we're going to be talking about retro versus new, which is better.
All right, Paul?
Hey, I had a great time this weekend. We had the Jakester win $250 at Jackpot Karaoke by Doc's Ultimate Entertainment at the Shack in Black Earth, Wisconsin. If you want to win $250, all you got to do is come down to the O'Finley's in Richland Center, Wisconsin, sing a song, pick a chip, and you might win some money. Come on down.
Cool shit. Brendan?
I post podcasts. Wednesday, Sportholics Anonymous on Dream Elite Radio. Talk about sports. Thursday, doing 2 shows. Podcast Thursdays are back. I'm going to host a brand new show where I'm going to get serious, or at least try to be serious. Time to get controversial, where I'm going to discuss today's news and current events. Try and keep it entertaining, though. Thursday's Keeping Kayfabe, obviously. Tuesdays, tomorrow, Geek Speak. We're going to talk about fucking Batman for 2 hours, probably. I'm going to try not to, but inevitably we will talk about Batman for 2 hours, probably.
Steven, what you got to plug to the world?
Well, I'm starting up a YouTube channel where I'm going to be discussing a lot of mixed martial arts, UFC. So if you could subscribe to Stephen Wago, that's Stephen spelled with a PH, Wago is WAGO, and I'd appreciate that.
Oh, fantastic, man. We wish you the best of luck and all the support with that. So, yeah, everyone stay tuned to everything we got going on here on Mega Powers Radio. We got shows going on almost every single night of the week now. This Sunday, we just recently had the first edition of a monthly new series we're going to have called Otaku Nation, where our very own Michael Burhan and Stephen Weidland. You know what? I'm just going to go with Wago, so everyone's cool and understands it. Oh, I'm sorry, dude.
Well, you could call yourself Waidling Barrett, just saying.
Oh, goodness gracious. So that show is currently put onto our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MegaPowersRadio, and soon will be posted to fanboysanonymous.com as well. We will be here every Monday night following the conclusion of Raw, so be sure to join us for that, wrestling fans. Tuesday night, Geek Speak, starting at 8 p.m., as you heard Brandon saying earlier. Wednesday night, the Daceman Show, where Chris the Daceman Dace talks about sports and celebrity news. Thursday night, Keeping Kayfabe starts at 9 p.m. It's the Thursday Night Wars, as we have a wrestling show go head-to-head with Impact. We spend our time talking about wrestling's past, pick a match, go in-depth, talk about the build, talk about the fallout, everything involved with it. Lots of fun going on there. Friday night is our one night off, but that's when we have Smark Out Moment going down. You get to hear Tony talking about that. And then Saturday night, I got gameplay, as you heard Burhan talk about. Lots of cool stuff going on. Stay tuned. MegaPowersRadio.com. Thank you, everyone, for listening here on the Mega Powers Radio Monday Night Raw Post Show. We're here every week. I'm Mike Paden, for Steven, for Brandon, for Mr. Burhan, for Paul, for Tony Mango. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We will
for the trolls.
For the trolls. We will see y'all next week.